In 2007, a company called Krypton Future Media would go on to release a voice synthesizer software codenamed CV01. While developing the software, Krypton decided that to reach more people and generate more sales, the software would need some kind of marketable image or identifiable mascot. So they set out to find an artist that would work best with them, eventually landing on a manga artist by the name of Kuwago. While designing said mascot for Krypton, K was provided basically no supervision as to how to design this character. The only two design directions that he was given was that 1, this character had to be an android, and 2, it had to include the color turquoise. Aside from that, K pretty much had free reign to design this character as he saw fit. And while there were plenty of prototype designs, eventually what was settled on by Krypton was one of K's earlier drafts. 2 turquoise twin tails, try saying that 5 times fast, with a gray and black outfit with even more turquoise highlights. And it's here Hatsune Miku would be born. A character that would surpass her purpose of being a mascot for a voice synthesizer software and would become one of the biggest pop culture icons in the world. Like seriously, she was on Letterman once. Look at this confused old man. He does not know what to do here. Someone please come get their confused grandpa. But even though Miku has been tearing up the music scene for almost 18 years now, what hasn't changed is her overall design. Doesn't matter what version of her you're looking at, it's always a variation of that iconic twin tail original. She's known for this look. So much so, I have plenty of friends who aren't into Vocaloid call her that anime computer girl, which is really funny because every time they say that, I'm just reminded of that Squidward meme where he's going, "It's not called Speed Up or TikTok version, it's called a Nightcore, and you put an anime girl on the thumbnail." And it doesn't matter what kind of music Miku finds herself to be in, from existential alt J-rock tracks to the most colorful hyperpop songs, the one constant is Miku and her iconic design. As Yönsen et al. Cites, quote, "Krypton has become tasked with forming a universal Miku, something that anyone can understand as a common identity for the singer. Her features are just as important as the music itself. It's a universally identifying aesthetic. It doesn't matter which Vocaloid artist you listen to, what's important to Krypton is that you know this is Miku." And this idea of a universal aesthetic is really interesting to me because I have this weird theory that the otaku subculture has gone through the same thing. As anime gets more and more popular, being an anime fan isn't just about watching anime and reading manga anymore, but rather it's become this thing you experience outside of that. Giving anime hot takes, standing your waifu and husbando, calling each other's taste trash, even being a self-admitted degenerate gooner are seen as universal experiences of the modern day anime fan aesthetic. Like Hatsune Miku, there seems to be a common identity on what it means to be a degenerate weeb. People just find it more fun to engage with the aesthetics of an anime fan rather than anime itself. And that's what my weird theory is, that the online anime culture has essentially been aestheticized. And to better explain my crackpot theory, I'm gonna have to critique Vtubers.
Hello, handsome. What a day, huh? You look lonely. I can fix that. Hoo-hoo-hoo.
So I don't really need to explain what a VTuber is. You've definitely seen them before somewhere. Your favorite content creator either is or has definitely collabed with a VTuber. And the YouTube algorithm is definitely not afraid to recommend you them. But I find VTubers really interesting because they're a good case study of the aestheticization of anime. For example, seeing as how VTubing as a trend originated in Japan, it made the most sense for VTubing companies to use aesthetic elements that would vibe the most with potential fans that would watch VTubers, those being otakus. In a paper by Ferreira et al., they say that, quote, "VTubers have incorporated several elements that dialogue with the otaku subculture, elements like the moe and kawaii subculture, and consistently use the aesthetic characteristics that are derived from them. Characteristics like soft eyes, colored hair, animal features, and the most hilarious one, very young profiles in the range between 10 and 15 years old. And if you've never written a dissertation, just know that you kinda need to justify what you write. You can't just pull examples out of your ass with no proof. So these poor researchers had to explain what a lolly was to a group of professors that were at least 20 to 30 years older than them. Shit is wild when you think about that. Like, no, sir. She's ironically acting like a 10-year-old for profit. And I know it's easy to go, no shit, the people from the country that created anime and manga would use the anime and manga aesthetic to market themselves, but it actually does go a bit deeper than that. Because in a paper titled The Digital Won't Let Me Go, Analysis of the Public's Perception and Interaction with VTubers, it says that part of the reason why VTubing started this way was because of how familiar these aesthetic elements can be. It says, quote, "The possibility of interacting with these cheerful-looking virtual girls attracts the attention of groups of young men and women because it awakens feelings of identification, comfort, and curiosity because it interconnects with otaku concepts. Watchers of these kind of VTubers already have a preconceived idea of what they would be into. Your avatar's anime. I watch anime. Monkey brain tells me it's safe to assume that you watch anime too and would be familiar with the same things as I am. Even if that specific VTuber doesn't watch as much anime as a viewer, or doesn't watch it at all, for some, just appearing as anime is enough to put their foot through the door to come in and watch. And the thing is, I can actually prove this works a bit, but to do that, I'm gonna have to expose myself. I don't really know when I'll use these poses, but it's just B footage. I guess I can just keep them around for now. Doesn't really matter when I'll use them. Okay, pose 19. What's pose 19? Ryan Gosling? So if you're new to my channel, you're probably wondering what the fuck you're currently looking at. Like, who the fuck is this bitch? Why is she staring into my soul? Why is she popping a mean squat? Also, why is she at a church? Is this a kink thing? And to that I say, God, I wished. But the real answer is that this is a frame of my custom character from the game Code Vein that I use in parts of my video. Essentially, she's a poor man's VTuber. So when I started my channel 3 years ago, I thought it'd be really fitting to have an anime-styled mascot for a channel that was all about anime video essays. But seeing as how VTubing rigs are mad expensive and that I'd have to join the cartel to afford the cheapest one, I had to do the next best thing. I was playing Code Vein at the time and I had the bright idea of using the in-game camera feature to record my character as B-roll footage. It's not just a really easy way to pad out my videos, especially when I don't know what to put on screen, but it's also a really good way for me to generate engagement. Like, I always get comments asking, hey, who's that anime girl? To which I don't reply, which encourages them to ask again, padding out my engagement algorithm even more. It's not the price of the rig that matters, lads, it's how you use it. But this engagement is derived from those previously mentioned feelings, because I guarantee you the people asking these questions are probably anime fans that simply went, ooh, anime girl. We're that easy, okay? You put anime on anything, we'll probably buy it. And this contextless use of anime attraction is a real tactic, actually. It's called mukokuseki, or statelessness. This is a term used to describe characters in Japanese media whose cultural features are essentially blurred. Characters that say they're of a foreign culture, but whose design and situation doesn't really convey that culture. A really good example of this, actually, is Iron Mouse. And I know she's Puerto Rican and she's mentioned this plenty of time on her streams, but visually, you can argue that she's mukokuseki. Her VTuber avatar is a demon girl whose design is inspired neither by devils from Catholic lore nor by the Oni from the Shinto faith. Her design also doesn't visually reference her Puerto Rican heritage. She caters to an international English-speaking audience, but her visuals and performances are rooted in aesthetics that we've established originate from Japanese otaku subcultures. She's a Puerto Rican, streaming in English, using Japanese-inspired visuals, performing as a fictional devil girl. A lot of her cultural signifiers are crisscrossing each other, but are never coming into focus. She embodies the aesthetic and idea of anime, not the industry or culture that created it. As Regis et al. Says in their paper, quote, while a lot of VTubers are not necessarily rooted in Japan, most of the time they exhibit kawaii aesthetics for the visual appeal. And that is what my Crackpot theory is, that anime has essentially transcended into a vibe. These tropes and cliches that once were confined to shows that you watch are now tangible things. Things that anyone can pull from to market and promote themselves. Otaku aesthetics are no longer an exclusive thing for anime fans. Because of how wide and varied the VTubing genre is, I guarantee you there are VTubers that tap into that anime aesthetic bubble, yet they don't watch a lick of anime. The internet, and by extension VTubing companies, has essentially commodified the aesthetic of anime. And if it seems I'm a bit gatekeepy, I really am not trying to be, so I apologize for that. It's just really crazy that as someone who's been watching anime since high school, which was during the 2010s, the way people engaged with it has evolved from this.
See what you're doing
Yes.
in your fucking bedroom.
Yes, Holden. Because of that, Santa did not get me my much-wanted copy of Eureka 7.
Hey, welcome to my first anime review, and today I'll be reviewing Bleach.
Need to be shorter, and there are reasons why being long isn't inherently bad in and of itself. The reason people have a problem with a lot of shonen.
Into this.
Germany! Gonna be covered in a fresh layer. This is disgusting. Why am I saying that?
No, you heard me fart. Now I'll never be married.
Now, I know not all VTubers watch anime, and there's this whole subset of VTubers that don't engage with the stereotypical anime aesthetic. And there's nothing wrong with this. And I actually do like that because visual diversity is always good, and if everything was anime, honestly, it would be very, very boring. But for some, the idea of VTubing is intrinsically tied to its anime origins. If you go to the virtual YouTuber subreddit, you'll actually find plenty of people asking, hey, do I need to know anime if I stream as a VTuber? And the answers are just people going, nah bruh, fuck anime. Now, whether or not something being commodified into an aesthetic is a good thing is for you to decide. I'm only here to explore. But what I will say is that this is a sign of the times. There's this idea with some really misguided anime fans that anime has to be this underground and underrated thing and that it's a mistake for it to go mainstream. But VTubing shows this shit will be and has been everywhere. You can't stop anime from becoming mainstream, let alone the idea of it. You're Delulu if you think you can. VTubers have genuinely helped a lot in normalizing an aesthetic that was once seen as this art form associated with nerds and weirdos. I mean, it still kinda is, just more ironic now. And wishing to undo years of normalization because of the vague, good old days is just crazy to me. Times are a-changin'. The wind rises with anime. It's best that we go along with it. That said, though, stereotypes exist for a reason. Anime fans can be a bit degenerate sometimes, so out of pure curiosity, I actually looked up how much Rule 34 there was of Hololive, and oh my god, people want to these characters. I wonder if I'm on here. Wait, let me check. Aw, kinda sad at that. Get on it, internet!
I wanna take